Hi, everybody. Adam Sweet here with Soul Astrology, and today we have edition number 5 of the Anonymous Birth Charts. This is a series in which I do mini bite-sized readings for all of you based on charts and questions that were submitted. So let's go ahead and take a look at today's chart. Here's the chart, and the question is, should I retire early? Well, that is a great question and a great, I guess you could say, quote unquote, problem to have. Usually for career, we would look at the 10th house, or we can even look at the sun. But because, in my opinion, retirement is more of a financial question, we're going to look at the second house. So the second house is the native's finances. Pisces is the sign occupying the second house. Pisces is ruled by Jupiter. Jupiter is over here in the sixth house and is exalted in Cancer. So you have the ruler of the second exalted in the sixth. Exaltations and falls in the astrological lineage that I am stemming from is considered to be of the nature of the moon. So exaltations describe the allotment of the material fortune presented or presenting from the topics of that house. So in this case, Jupiter would be talking about the material allotment of the sixth house because it is in its own exaltation of Cancer. But we don't want to know necessarily about that. We want to know about this house, the second, about the native's finances. So then we are going to look at the exaltation ruler of Pisces. The exaltation ruler of Pisces is Venus. Venus is here in the fifth house. Venus is in a pretty neutral position. It doesn't have dignity or is lacking dignity in Gemini, but it has good accidental dignity in the fifth house. So the fifth house was considered a good house in ancient Hellenistic astrology. So that's a pretty good position for the native's finances. We have an exalted Jupiter as the domicile ruler, and we have Venus with good accidental dignity in the fifth house as the exaltation ruler of the second house. So that is shaping up to look like a pretty positive situation for the native's finances moving into the future and a potential retirement. But we always want to dig a little bit deeper just to make sure we have the whole story. So the first thing that I notice here is that Jupiter is exactly squaring the south node. This is what is called being at the bending. So to figure out what bending point it is, we start at the north node, we go clockwise, and the first opening square, as it's called, that any planet found there that is squaring within 3 degrees the nodes is considered to be at the south bending point and is inclined towards the south node, meaning that its significations are now blended with the south node. So a exalted Jupiter in the sixth house. Well, the sixth house, as we've said in other videos, is the house that is closely aligned with the planet Mars. It was said to be the joy of Mars, and Mars can be a little impulsive. So, with an exalted, sort of inflated planet here, exaltations were often thought to inflate a planet, sometimes for good, sometimes for ill. Jupiter is already the planet of excess and bigness. And so when we have sort of excessive inflated Jupiter and it is squaring the south node, that to me might point to a Jupiter that wants to spend a lot of money. The south node in ancient Hellenistic astrology had a little bit of an interesting description to it. It said, I believe it was Abu Mushar who said, good with a bad one, bad with a good one in describing the south node, meaning that the south node kind of siphons off the energy of the planet that it is contacting. So, in the case of being in contact with, say, Saturn, that would actually be a good thing because it would kind of be dimming down some of Saturn's maleficence. In the case of being contacted with Jupiter, like in this case, that is not necessarily the best situation because what it's doing is it's actually siphoning off some of that uh, exalted, exuberant, positive nature of a benefic planet like Jupiter, siphoning off some of that beneficence. So, to me, that could paint a picture of somebody who overspends their money after they retire and might find themselves in a position where you have to go back to work. I am just making up a story here. Obviously, there is a thousand other things that it could be in that combination. And it's always really important to look at the context. And that's what longer readings are for, is we can have a conversation about these topics and really figure out what it truly means in your life or what it could mean moving forward. And what you might want to consider. So, in this case, I think that this native is in a very good position to retire early if that is an option, but they might just want to be a little bit careful and make sure that that exalted Jupiter doesn't get carried away and start siphoning off their finances and end up in a position where they can't retire early or they have to go back to work, which sounds like that's not what they want to do. Otherwise, they wouldn't be retiring early. Okay, everybody. I hope you found that useful today and we did some good work for the native. If you would like to submit a chart and question, please email me, Adam at soulastrology.com, and we'll go ahead and take a look at it in one of these series. Okay, thanks for watching, everybody. Take care. Bye.